1,000 subscribers. I never thought I would reach that many. I know I say that a lot in every subscriber special, but this time I really mean it. I started this account over 5 years ago at the age of 17, and I was happy just to have 100 subscribers. Can you imagine how a 17-year-old me would react to 1,000? Much like my 500 subscriber special, I started writing this script way before I hit 1,000 subs, but I had nothing else planned for 1,000 subscriber special, so this script became the 1,000 subscriber special. So, what do I have planned for 1,000 subscribers? You read the title. In honor of 1,000 subscribers, I will be redoing and improving Super Megaforce. I'm not surprising anyone when I say Super Megaforce was a waste of a Power Rangers series. It had a ton of missed opportunities and never treated itself like an actual Power Rangers series. I know people like to complain about the Neo-Saban era, but the majority of the Neo-Saban era just fails to be individual Power Rangers seasons. But Super Megaforce was supposed to be an epic that celebrated 2 decades of a beloved franchise, so it had a lot of big shoes to fill, and just came across as a big disappointment. I think Super Megaforce pretty much is what comes to mind when I see fans discuss the Megaforce seasons, mostly because the actual Megaforce season was dull and forgettable. But to be fair, because the contract between Saban and Toei forbid them from skipping a season, and the contract with Nickelodeon limited the seasons to 20 episodes, so Gosei probably was rushed through in order to get to Gokaiger. So, why am I doing this? Super Megaforce has been nitpicked and deconstructed to death by every Power Rangers fan on YouTube, and it's been gone for 7 years, so nobody cares anymore. I'm going to give my take on how Super Megaforce could be improved, which once again has been done by every Power Rangers fan on YouTube, myself included, but this time I'm doing it in a completely different way that's slightly more professional, taking inspiration from fanscription on Channel Awesome. In case you don't know, if you're a geek, which you're watching a YouTube video about Power Rangers, you definitely are, you've watched a movie or an episode of a TV show and thought, I could have done that better, or it would have been better if this happened. Fanscription is basically that in a YouTube video series, hosted by Rob Walker and Walter Panasiak, usually covering topics like how a movie could be improved, alternate versions of a film or film series, and even fun fan ideas that would be cool to see. If you're interested in checking it out, new episodes are uploaded every Tuesday to the Channel Awesome YouTube channel. For starters, I want to get a couple of things perfectly straight. Since people forget that the first season of Megaforce existed, I'm going to do that as well and pretend the whole series is a 40-episode long, single-season adaptation of Gokaiger. But for the sake of convenience, I will call the season Super Megaforce and keep all the character names the same to avoid confusion. Since there is a lot wrong with Super Megaforce, I don't have time to go over every problem in Super Megaforce, so I'll only be focusing on the major problems and occasionally bring up nitpicks along the way. Also, despite me being a big Super Sentai fan, and the source material being nearly a decade old as of the time of the writing of this video, I have not seen the vast majority of Gokaiger. And finally, since my final improvement is just a fan idea, don't take it too seriously. I know that Saban, Bandai, or even Hasbro could never live up to such high expectations. Alright, enough with the chit-chat. Let's get to why you clicked on this video. After the Rangers and the villains, the Mentor is usually the most important character, so let's start with Gosei. Who is Gosei? I'm serious. Who even is he, and why should I care? I know they wanted to do a whole similarity to the original series, with the Mentor being a giant head with a robotic sidekick, but you have to go further than that. I can't act like Mentor G was the best mentor ever.
He did make a lot of questionable decisions, like not letting Antonio join the team, but he did have a few good moments, like helping Mike master his Force symbol power, and seeing how he had a connection to Jaden's family. At least he had a reason to exist. And even Keeper, despite being the reason the Dino Charge Rangers exist by bonding the Energems to the dinosaurs, didn't get a lot of screen time. Gosei, on the other hand, nothing about Gosei is explained or revealed. What do we know about Gosei? All we know about him is that he was a student of Zordon, and that's it. I guess that's a good start, so expand upon it. Is Gosei a human that was cursed to be a giant tiki head, or is he a part of an alien race that looks like giant tiki heads? If it's the latter, how did he build a robotic sidekick if he has no hands? How did he get to the cave? How does he know the Warstar aliens and the Armada? Zordon was a wizard that was sealed away by an evil space witch for 10,000 years and was cursed by the witch by being trapped in a time warp. All of that is revealed in the first episode of MMPR. We know more about Zordon's backstory in one episode than Gosei in 40. Yeah, I know, limited Sentai footage, but Gosei just gives the Rangers all this stuff like they're freebies at a garage sale. He says that the Rangers have mastered or unlocked this new power, when they haven't done anything to earn it. Once again, I know that since this is the 20th anniversary season, they wanted to have callbacks to the original series by having the Rangers be high school students. I wouldn't have a problem with that if the Rangers' regular lives as high school students weren't so boring. We never see them do anything high school related, and their lives as Rangers have no consequences on their regular lives. Plus, this team is bland, these characters have no personalities, it's just 5 cookie-cutter high school stereotypes that are forced onto a team together. Emma is the girly girl, Gia is the tough tomboy, Noah is the tech geek. You get the idea. I know, so was the original team, but just because something works 25 years ago doesn't mean it will work in present day. Times change, and you gotta change with it. As a matter of fact, this can be done correctly. Dino Thunder, a Power Rangers series that was made 15 years ago, nails what high school is actually like. Sure, they have to tone it down for kids so they can't deal with serious issues that real-life teenagers face on a daily basis. But Connor, Ethan, and Kira were far more than just jock, nerd, and goth stereotypes. They were from 3 different worlds, so they struggled to get along as friends at first, but they have to deal with it as they will be fighting monsters together on a daily basis. But then, as the series went on, the dynamic between the 3 of them helped them improve as a team. In Megaforce, on the other hand, they just accept to become a friend group because they're Rangers. It would have been cool to see them grow and change over the course of the series, but instead, storytelling and character development takes a backseat to Gosei handing out power-ups like a garage sale. And then there's Orion. Talk about wasted potential. This man had his home planet being invaded by the Armada and witnessed the Armada killing everybody on his home planet. It's an interesting backstory. So go somewhere with it. Orion is treated as a second thought. We never see him interact with the others that much. Outside of his debut episode, he didn't get a lot of focus episodes, and when he left, it didn't matter because he never experienced proper character development. Alright, so the heroes are cookie-cutter stereotypes and have nothing interesting about them. Well, the villains aren't much better. Prince Vakar is a whiny brat. It's impossible to take this guy seriously as the prince of an evil space armada when all he does is whine and complain. I would talk about the other villains, but besides Vrock, I don't really remember them all that well. They don't really do that much aside from following orders from the prince. It isn't until Emperor Mavro shows up where things finally get interesting. This is what Master Xandrid should have been. A conquering villain that looks intimidating and takes no nonsense. He even kidnaps Troy and threatens to reveal his identity if the Rangers don't surrender. However, due to limited use of Sentai footage and the struggle of adapting 2 seasons at once, he's only in the series for the last 3 episodes. Talk about wasted potential. Okay, I covered the Rangers, Gosei, and the villains. Now who's left? Oh, right, Mr. Burley and Ernie. What was the point of these characters? Besides the occasional comic relief, they served no purpose. If I were to remove them, it would make no difference. Since this is an anniversary series, it's a missed opportunity to make the teacher a previous Ranger, just like in Dino Thunder. It would be an older Ranger passing down their wisdom and experience down to a new team of Rangers. As for Ernie, I know the local hangout being named Ernie's is a callback to the original series, but you know what would be even more of a callback? Polk Skull. In Forever Red, they were seen at this food stand bar thing at a resort, which is similar enough to the frozen yogurt shop and the youth center from MMPR, which would be a nice wrap-up for their characters, making them come full circle, while also serving as a where are they now? And much like Season 2 of MMPR, they would question why these 5 kids keep showing up and leaving, which would make them suspect these 5 kids are the Power Rangers. This is what Super Megaforce is best known for. Gosei's line in the first episode of Super Megaforce has practically become a meme. For example, these Rangers are not pirates, so why are the suits pirate-themed? Why does Jake go from black to green? Why do the Megaforce keys exist if Super Mode is an upgrade from Megaforce? Just to name a few. But of course, the biggest of all is the non-Power Rangers Sentai suits being used in the footage if they never existed in Power Rangers, which makes no sense because sometimes they'll create original footage exclusively for Power Rangers to edit out the non-Power Rangers suits, but other times they just let the non-Power Rangers suits in during the stock footage. I swear to Zordon, the unadapted suits get more screen time than the actual legendary Ranger teams. Apparently Jonathan Zacher was a Sentai fanboy, so we didn't want them removed, which is fine, but there needs to be an explanation so that their existence makes more sense within the story, which in return would expand the Power Rangers mythos. Are these powers from other planets? Are they from the future? Are they from another dimension? Nope, they're just there for the sake of being there without any logical explanation. It feels like the writing team put more effort into naming these unadapted teams than creating an interesting and unique way to celebrate the anniversary of a 2-decade-old franchise. As I stated in the intro, other Neo Saban seasons fail to be individual seasons. But the reason why people remember Super Megaforce being a dumpster fire was that it wasn't an ordinary season of Power Rangers. It was supposed to be an epic 20-year anniversary, and it failed miserably. Maybe if Super Megaforce was simply an ordinary series of Power Rangers, it would just be run-of-the-mill bad. It felt like the non-Power Rangers Sentai teams got more screen time than the tribute morphs to actual Power Rangers teams. In fairness, the tribute episodes they do, at least in my opinion, aren't too bad. In Alliance and in The Driver's Seat, it was really cool to see the Rangers travel to the worlds of other Rangers and use previous Zords in their arsenal. However, during In the Driver's Seat, it would have been nice to have an explanation on why Corinth looks so different after all these years. And if we actually got to meet Dr. K or anyone from RPM. But what I would have liked to see more of in Super Megaforce were episodes like Samurai Surprise and Spirit of the Tiger, where previous Rangers passed down their power down to the next team. At least in Spirit of the Tiger, Casey feels more like an actual evolved master, so the training he passes down feels like wisdom that later helps the team. Samurai Surprise, on the other hand, Jaden and Mentor G just sit on the sidelines while the Megaforce Rangers do most of the work. In those episodes, with the exception of Jungle Fury, the Rangers gain Zords that are tributes to those seasons, But then there's an episode where they gain a Zord that's supposed to be a tribute to Ninja Storm, but the episode itself has nothing to do with Ninja Storm. At least with Gokaiger, when they met a past Ranger, gained a new Zord, or did a tribute morph to a team, it felt earned, like they were progressing on a journey as they learned more about the past. Alright, now that I addressed all of the big problems with Super Megaforce, how would I personally redo it? As I stated in the intro, the first Megaforce season doesn't exist, so let's pretend Gosei got adapted as a separate Power Rangers series. So this would explain why the Megaforce keys exist and won't have inconsistent morphing sequences, where sometimes they have to go regular Megaforce first, while other times they can just go straight to Super. Also, with no Gosei footage, that weird arc where Vrock returned and he took the Super Mega Powers wouldn't exist, which means no Troy going Super Saiyan or whatever the hell that was. But most importantly,
there's a simple explanation for that.
That wouldn't exist. As I stated before, since the contract didn't allow Saban from skipping a season, so it felt like the first season was rushed through because they wanted to get to Gokaiger as quickly as possible. So, how would I readapt and fix Super Megaforce? You're gonna have to find out next time. I'm currently on page 5 of however long this script is. As of the time of me recording this, I haven't finished writing it yet. So I'm going to break it off here, but stay tuned next time for when part 2 gets uploaded.